So it's getting cold, you guys. And if you're getting cold here in Florida, imagine what your poor plants are gonna do. So today's video is all about 5 tips on how to keep your garden, your tropicals, super safe this cold season. We put a great deal of effort into these videos and try to find some things that you guys really enjoy watching, as well as making it as educational as possible. So we really appreciate your support and subscribing and checking out our channel. It really helps to give us that pat on the back that we are doing something right, and also puts us in your feed if this is the kind of stuff that you like to see every single week. So the very first tip is an easy one. Now we know when these cold fronts hit, the news goes crazy, everybody goes nuts, and winter is coming. So we know when a cold front is happening here in Florida. So when that does happen, a couple days in advance, make sure to up that water. If you've got an irrigation system, make sure to double the time that you currently have. If you have it on for 20 minutes, those 2 days prior to a freeze, hit it for double that amount of time. Make sure that everything's a little bit soggy, really hydrated, because they're gonna need that little bit of protection from the very beginning. And then the day of the freeze, cut that water off, cut it completely off. You wanna prior to covering or doing your next step, you wanna make sure that that water is there to set and settle and be warm in the earth, because that water turns into like an insulation around the root system. Think of it as a hot water bottle cozying you up during those cold nights, and that's exactly what it does. That heat during the day of our Florida heat warms that ground, that water stays nice and toasty. Now, I know you guys, I know it sounds like it should be the opposite. Like, don't water your plants, you don't want them to freeze, especially the water that's left on the leaves. That's the reason why you stop watering that day prior. Leading up to it, hit water as much as you can, but the day of the freeze, the evening of the freeze, make sure there is no water on there, because you don't want water actually on the leaves. The whole purpose to have the water is to insulate the ground, to insulate the root system, because our ground here in Florida is pretty toasty. So you want to let that water warm up all the way around the roots, and that's what helps insulate it over time. So 2 days prior, even the morning of, you can water as long as we have good sun out, but by that afternoon, by that evening, cut that water way off, because we don't want to take the chance of burning any of the leaves. The whole goal of keeping the plants happy is really trying to protect the root system. If you get a little cold damage on plants, as you know, if you're from Florida, you know that's going to happen. A little frost burn in the spring, you're going to cut that back anyway, and you're going to get all new growth. But what we're trying to do is protect the roots, so that way you get new growth every single spring. All right, you guys, for the next tip, I know this is going to come off as just common sense, but the plant blanket, the blankets, they work so well for covering. I mentioned this because I had a client mention to me that she used it and it didn't help at all. And a lot of time, you can toss it up to more human error. There is a proper way to do plant blankets, and I think a lot of us don't realize this. I almost want to knock on people's doors as I drive by and see the plant blankets just kind of covering the top of the blanket. So when you're using your plant blankets, you either use the jacket with the drawstring, or you can use the full plant blanket. I prefer the full plant blanket, probably because I have tons and tons of plants, and they come in nice long rows. And the best thing that you're going to want to do is you're going to want to treat it like a hot air balloon. And I'll give you an example here. Like if this croton is here and I want to protect it, you want to go around this croton all the way to the stem, all the way to the ground here. I use weed barrier stakes and I put those in, but you can use stones, you can use rocks, you can use whatever, you can use a shovel, whatever you have on hand. You want to kind of mushroom all the way around here and make sure the plant blanket is tucked right along the base here and into the ground. So that way that hot air from the ground starts to push up during that cold snap that we have, starts to release into this plant blanket. Because unlike us, where we're, have an internal temperature that keeps us warm, these guys don't. So having that plant blanket in there, you really want to make sure that you're utilizing the water that you kind of helped keep warm in there. And then once that starts to release, that really does help protect the plant itself. A common misconception, it's kind of what I see a lot. I'll see it where they'll just kind of drape it over top and just kind of let it hang here, or maybe even tie it up to the plant here. However, unfortunately, you're not focusing on the most important part. The thing that needs to be done is for this plant to be completely covered all the way to the base to protect the root system. That's the thing that you want to protect, because in the future, of course, you can cut some of these old leaves off if they get wind burnt, but those roots, they have to be strong enough to push out new energy to give you all that new growth back. So the whole plant, all the way to the bottom, wants to be covered. And if you have the bonus awareness of having like a boulder or any kind of stones or rocks, cover that too, because during the day, during the sunny part of the day, that boulder heats up and it's, again, like a hot water bottle in there, and it's going to allow some of that heat to generate for inside of this plant. So anything like that that you might have, totally cover it. If you have concrete edging, cover that concrete edging with your plant, because that's going to allow that heat to kind of penetrate towards the plant. So anything you can do to help warm up those little guys during those cold snaps, it's gonna just pay off tremendously. So the next tip is some Christmas lights. So I know that you guys have probably heard this. Don't use your LED lights, use incandescent outdoor rated lights. I like the C9 variety. I'll put them in my storefront down below. They're fantastic to use. You want the big bulbs because they really do give off the most heat. And when they're outdoor rated, you don't have to worry about fires. You don't have to worry about any kind of issues. And they're kind of cool. I mean, just to have little key areas that you're gonna do, wrap your trees with them. Now, I only wrap Christmas lights around my specialty palms. My palms, I want to make sure I don't lose any kind of height from them or lose too many fronds from them, because, you know, it takes so long for some of these specialty palms to get any kind of real size to them, like my Penanga coronata here, or like my La Quala palms that you guys see. So this palm tree is one that I will be wrapping this year. I think it also looked pretty in the garden just to have some Christmas lights in here. But what you want to make sure to do is you want to start at the bottom, of course, work your way through all of the stems that you can. So you're gonna work your way through the stems, but each one of these stems, there's a heart in this tree. And you wanna make sure that you get into the heart, so into the main trunk. So when I'm wrapping the Christmas lights through here, I'm wrapping them through that center stem. This one here would be right here. This is where that center stem would be. I can go to the La Quala and show you the same thing with the La Quala. So in wrapping this guy here, I would make sure to wrap all the way from the bottom and then hit all of this interior section here. This is the area that protects it. This is the heart of the tree. A lot of people concentrate down by the roots, but if you can really kind of get in here, that's gonna protect you losing any of these fronds during a frost. And then of course, finalize it by wrapping that tree. That's gonna hold that heat in. That's gonna give you like an internal heater for any of your specialty palms or specialty accents. If there's anything in your garden that is just kind of on the border and you're like, gosh, I just don't wanna wait a whole season for this thing to bounce back, cover it and add some Christmas lights to it. It's that time of the year anyway. Why not add a little dazzle? All right, you guys, for the fourth tip, fungicide. Liquid copper fungicide is an ideal thing to do. If you've covered, uncovered, it's gotten warm, it's gotten cold, it's gotten warm, it's gotten cold, your plants no doubt are going to get a fungus or be on the verge of getting a fungus. So if you can spray everything with a copper fungicide, then you're gonna be super, super happy, especially your palms. And if you do your palms, again, keep in mind the crown, the heart of the palm is the most important part. So focus in on getting that fungicide right into the crowns and the hearts of the tree, because that's gonna make all the difference. You can spray that into the canopies. That is the time of the year that that kind of thing happens. And if you can nip that in the bud right away, then voila, you have a beautiful garden that did not miss a beat. And for the last tip, this is the time of the year we're having festivities and everybody is traveling. This is a great time to touch up your area with mulch. Now it's going to protect your plants, it's going to protect that root system. It's also going to help kind of hold that moisture in the ground. So this is a great time. As we also cut back on water, it's going to be a great time to kind of help keep things hydrated when they need to be. So adding a nice layer of mulch is an ideal thing to do this time of the year. And if you have a garden kind of like my garden where mulch is not kind of an option, you kind of see, I kind of have a jungle floor of plants. So I don't really have mulch at all in this particular section of my garden. I've allowed the plants to kind of be its own ground cover, like kind of like nature intends. So I have a jungle floor, and a lot of my plants, I don't have to worry about covering them at all. Even if the temperatures I know are gonna get into 32, there's some specific things that I'll cover, like my La Qualas and then the coronata that I mentioned. But overall, I cover very little of it because of this microclimate that's been created. So those of you guys who have been, playing with the idea of really creating a condensed jungle in your back space, really creating some serious layers and levels and into your garden, then go right ahead, because that's just a lot less work that you're gonna have to do when the cold comes. Because this garden I've had for over 20 years, it doesn't miss a beat, you know, other than those specific things that probably don't belong here because they're kind of not cold tolerant enough. Those are the things that I give a little extra attention to, but the rest of these gals, they just kind of, you know, survive out here during all of those temps and do fabulously. So if you guys are able to kind of create your microclimates and really find a condensed area of planting on some of those tropicals that may be just kind of on the verge of should they belong or should they not belong here, pile them nice and close together, put some ground plantings like burl marks or sanchizia or something that's really going to fill in all those nooks and crannies of the garden, become your ground floor aglaonemas, all of those things that really kind of do the job for you. Then you've got your natural built-in plant blankets, and then you're kind of pretty golden when you have a good established base like that and you don't have to worry about mulching. All right, you guys, so speaking of beautiful gardens, if you are looking for some assistance in creating your very own tropical outdoor space, then you know your girl here is a landscape designer, and I'd be very happy to meet with you and look over your area. We have 3 different services. We have services where we do landscape design and installation for our local areas along the Treasure Coast. Then we also have just design services only for like a master plan to create something that you might want to DIY yourself or hand off to a landscape contractor in your area to have installed. We offer that service through a big portion of Florida. And then for those of you guys who just have key areas that you're kind of just working towards, you're doing it yourself, or maybe you're getting a little help with it, but you're kind of struggling with visualizing what to do for the space, we offer a 1-hour virtual consultation with me, and I kind of walk through the area with you. We pull up the picture on the screen. It's kind of a Zoom chat between the 2 of us, and I'll put that on my landscape program and in real time kind of lay out some ideas that might work well in your particular area. So those 3 services are available to us. We'll put all of our contact information down below in the show notes, as well as the links to some of the things that we talked about in today's video, so that way you guys have all of that at your fingertips. None of those things are sponsored in today's video. This is something that we just have on our Amazon storefront, and if you guys are going to buy them anyway, so appreciate you buying them off of our Amazon storefront, because that does really help us earn a little commission off of that. So thank you so much. And if you guys enjoyed today's video and you are in the holiday spirit, then you may enjoy last week's video, which was a spooky garden tour. It was so much fun, so much beautiful plants that we went over, and such a nice private garden tour.